So the other day, Ryan comes up to me and he says, "Hello, I'm Ryan F9. D.O.D, you handsome devil, I enjoyed the Da Vinci Chainsaw review you did so much that I'd like you to do another bike review." So I says, "Oh gee boss, thanks, sounds great. Is there anything particular you want to see?" "Yeah, I want you to stick to a $2,000 budget." "Well, that's a tough challenge, Ryan, but I can do it." "I know you can. You're so handsome." So with that heavenly bestowed $2,000, I decided to find the best bike I could. But what the hell does that mean?
Well, the best bike is going to be the one that offers you the highest level of componentry and the least amount of potential problems for your budget. Also, the one that offers you the most chances to get out and ride and have fun.
You see, suspension is one of the most expensive components on a bike. So by ditching the suspension, either the bike gets cheaper or the component spec gets better.
But D.O.D, I hear you say. If that's the case, wouldn't the best components and least amount of problems happen on a bike with no suspension? Oh, you thought I was gonna unrigid. No. Aha! You see, you forgot about our little equation. Highest level of components, lowest potential for problems, and most opportunities for fun. Oh, I gotta change shoes. So a lot of people with a $2,000 budget are just actually getting into the sport. And so a bike with a rigid front end would severely limit the terrain they could tackle. So in which case, the best bike for $2,000 is going to be a hardtail with front suspension, not rigid. Unless you're some kind of retro grouch, in which case, you're probably only into gravel.
So I looked at a bunch of bikes, and I thought about the following.
First up, the Kona Hanzo. At 6'5", 200 pounds, I need a bigger fork than the 32mm diameter stanchions on this to ride aggressive terrain confidently. And the 11-speed drivetrain doesn't give me the massive 500% or more gear ratio that I need to pedal uphill these days. The Kona Big Hanzo, another 11-speed drivetrain, and I want a slacker head angle that will put my weight further back. The 67.5-degree head angle on this makes me fear going over the bars and having to replace my teeth. Again. The Trek Roscoe 7.
32mm fork again. But look at all those colors. The Specialized Fuse Sport, 32mm fork, and only 130mm travel.
The Norco Torrent, another 11-speed drivetrain. It's like these bike companies expect me to be fit or something. And the geometry here is going to push my weight back, but too far back.
The Canyon Stoic 3. I chose the Canyon Stoic 3. At $1,849, the Canyon hit the price point. It has a RockShox 35 fork on the front, and at 6'5", 200 pounds, I wanted to have the biggest, stiffest, and most confident thing in front of me. An Eagle 12-speed drivetrain gives me a whole wide selection of gears for whatever terrain I'm in, and brakes that are almost good enough for a Da Vinci chainsaw. What a smoking deal. It offered me a new experience too. Canyon is a direct-to-consumer brand, and I've never bought a bike without going into a bike shop. I wanted to taste the internet. But there's something unnerving about buying a bike and not being able to sit on it or pedal it, not having a shop to go back to. Anyhow, I clicked pay now, and then poof, it showed up. Or rather, took 5 days to show up.
Here's the thing. I could have had the bike assembled by Canyon's local partner and delivered fully built.
But I didn't get them to build this sucker. I built it myself, like a sucker.
I'd normally use my own tools, but since Canyon was so generous to supply them to me for $28, I figured I'd build the bike the way someone else might have to if they wanted to save some cash and got in over their heads. Neither the quick start guide that came with the bike or the video on their website gave me any indicator at all what the hell this is. Turns out it's related to the rear wheel not being attached upon arrival, as it is in the Stoic assembly video. And pages 7 through 12 of the quick start guide where the rear wheel is on the bike in the pictures but then isn't on page 13 where they show you how to install the rear derailleur hanger but the hanger is already attached in the pictures, then a warning about the torque spec but then nowhere does it say what the torque spec is. And when I tightened the derailleur hanger bolt, which arrived looking like it had already been used, to 3 Newton meters, it stripped.
Round it out.
Fortunately, I had a replacement, the flathead screw. Honestly, I wish more things were flathead screwdrivers. I just love the feeling like I'm taking apart a light switch all the time. That's about when I noticed the bike was either chipped or just painted poorly. That's the exact kind of thing that does not really matter. But in a bike shop at time of purchase, you could leverage into a 20% discount on a helmet or a free water bottle or something. There's also no centering lines or angle lines on the stock handlebar. That would leave a beginner mechanic fairly in the dark when setting up sweep and rise of the handlebar or helping them ensure it's even in the stem. The bike doesn't come with pedals, which is to be expected, but it also doesn't come with an 8mm Allen key. So if you don't have that tool around, I hope you enjoy your new Canyon Run bike or the look of your local bike shop mechanic as you ask for help putting your pedals on the bike you didn't buy there. Canyon says your bike arrives 95% built. It also says, no technical skills needed. That is some direct-to-the-consumer horseshit right there. So, I ride in a lot of places where I like to have confidence in the front end. And that was one of the reasons I chose the Canyon Stoic, was because that 35mm fork on the front end means that I'll have greater confidence in how the front end kind of pushes through technical terrain. All right, let's do this. It seemed to work fairly well in a bit of a set it and forget it kind of way. Sure, I'd like more tunability than 4 clicks of rebound, as well as an adjuster that doesn't hurt my delicate fingers. The Schwalbe tires, Magic Mary on the front and Hans Dampf on the rear shocked me a bit with how good they were. Even in sub-zero temperatures, the stock tires stayed supple. I enjoyed the 4-piston SRAM Guide T brakes. They felt totally competent at technical hardtail speeds. Although the cost-saving lever blades themselves don't feel great on the fingers, I'd rather that be the place they save money in the design than power. The SRAM SX 12-speed drivetrain was fine. 12-speed is still new enough that I'm impressed we can get it in at this price point. The head angle of 65 degrees on this bike felt confidence-inspiring and like it kept me from going over the bars. So I can still see myself doing a big backcountry day, a bit of light bike packing, or even having some fun in a local race or two. Of course, this bike in a 5er race is the one where you pass people on the downhills and then cheerfully greet them as they go by you on the next climb. So, I'm pretty fond of the Canyon Stoic 3. It's playful, inspires confidence in aggressive terrain, and just makes me want to play and have fun on it. It's the right idea. But that $1,849 price is pretty close to an outright lie.
Postage and packaging was $128 on top of our $1,849, giving us a now total of $1,977 Canadian. Imagine my impulsive surprise when I had to pay another $240.37 because being direct from Germany, the bike itself is subject to 13% duties when it lands on my doorstep. So that brings us to $2,217.37. If I had had Canyon's local partner, VeloFix, build and assemble and deliver the bike, that would have cost an extra $240 after tax, putting this $1,849 bike very rapidly over $2,450.
If I had bought this at a shop in BC, where bikes are exempt from the 7% provincial sales tax, it would have only been $1,941 after tax.
But this isn't from BC, it's from Germany.
When you start out, it seems like a great deal at $1,849, but the price just inflates as it gets closer to your door. And certain things, like the damaged paint, those toothpaste welds, Or this seat tube gusset that looks like a DIY cure for Peyronie's disease wouldn't get overlooked in person at a bike shop. Another thing you can get at a bike shop is a riding community. Shop rides, events, and someone to exchange beer for old used parts with. Canyon's marketing department seems to know this and tries to trick you into thinking cardboard is your new community and riding buddy.
So that's the thing. If you're gonna commit to inflating your budget to $2,500 from $2,000, you might as well walk into your local shop and get precisely what you want. Hey Lou, can I get that Roscoe 7 but with this fork on it?
Sure, but why not just get the Roscoe 8?
Sweet.